So in this video, I'm going to go over the 10.1, 10.3 quiz. Now this is the original quiz, not the makeup. So properties are the same, principles are the same. So it says for number 1, what is the relationship of the line negative 2x plus 6y equals 12 to the line 6x minus 2y equals negative 7. So what we're going to do with these first is put them in slope-intercept form, which if you remember is y equals mx plus b, and then we're going to compare our m's, which are our slopes. So to do that, I'm going to do 6y, and I'm going to add that 2x to both sides, so that's going to be 2x over here plus 2. Then I'm going to divide everything by 6, so y is equal to 2 divided by 6x plus 2 divided by 6. So my y, when I simplify, is equal to 1/3 x plus 1/3. So now with this other line, we want to compare the m's, which are the coefficient of x. So here again, we're going to move the 6x to the other side. We're going to get negative 2y equals negative 6x minus 7. If I could write, that would be good. Let me erase that so it looks a little cleaner. Okay, then we're going to divide everything by negative 2. So y is equal to negative 6 divided by negative 2x minus 7 divided by minus 2. So y here is equal to negative 6 divided by negative 2 is our 3x. Remember, if we divide a negative by a negative, we get a positive, and this is going to end up also being positive. So let's now compare the 1/3 to the 3. Now these are reciprocals of each other, but remember, if lines are perpendicular, then the slopes have to be negative reciprocals of each other. So one of those would have to be negative. So the answer to this one was they are neither parallel, perpendicular, or the same line. All right, so number 2 says, what is the relationship of this line? So once again, we're going to move the 3x to the other side. So negative y equals negative 3x plus 5. I'm going to divide everything by negative 1 this time. So y is equal to negative 3 divided by negative 1, x, plus 5 divided by negative 1. So when we do simplify this, we're going to get 3x minus 5. Again, we're going to move the 6x to the other side by subtracting it. So we've got negative 2y is equal to negative 6x minus 7. Divide everything by our negative 2. So y is equal to negative 6, sorry, that's supposed to be an x up there, divided by negative 2, and that's our x, minus 7 divided by our negative 2 again. So here we're going to simplify again. When we divide a negative 6 by a negative 2, we get a positive 3. And this is going to again be a negative divided by a negative, so it's going to be a positive 7 over 2. Once again, we're comparing our slopes here, so we're comparing the 3 to the 3. This time they are the same, and when the slopes, that is the m variable, are the same, then we can say that the lines are parallel. So with number 3, again, since what's the relationship, we're going to move the 8x to the other side. So negative 2y is equal to negative 8x plus 7. Divide everything by negative 2. So y is equal to negative 8 divided by negative 2x plus 7 divided by negative 2. So when we simplify this one, again, when we divide a negative by a negative, we're going to get a positive. And then when we divide a positive by a negative, we're going to get a negative here for that term. Once again, going to move the 6x to the other side by subtracting it. So going to divide everything by negative 2. Simplify this one. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Again, negative by a negative is a positive. So this time, notice, I don't see any relationship between those slopes. So this is again going to be neither. All right, so number 4 says, in the diagram below, point M is the midpoint of JK. What are the coordinates of point J? So this time we're looking for another endpoint because we have the midpoint. So I like to use this formula XM. That's our midpoint, is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And ym, that's the y value of our midpoint, is equal to y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So when I do this, and remember, this is a formula that's not on y'all's formula sheet, nor is y equals mx plus b. So you'll have to memorize it. So we're going to take the value of our midpoint, our x value right here, negative 6, and we're going to put it there. We have our x1, that's negative 2. And we're going to add our x2 to that and divide by 2. So we get rid of that denominator by multiplying both sides by 2. So that's going to give us negative 12 equals negative 2 plus x2. Add the 2 to both sides, so negative 10 equals x2. Going to do the same thing over here for our y values now. So we're looking at 4 and negative 2. So we got negative 2 for our midpoint is equal to 4 plus y2 divided by 2. Once again, going to multiply both sides by 2. So this is negative 4 is equal to 4 plus y2. When we subtract 4 from both sides, we get that y2 is equal to negative 8. So the answer is negative 10 comma negative 8, which was D for this version of the quiz. So number 5 says the table below contains coordinates for 2 endpoints of a center circle's diameter. Which of these points would be the center of the circle? Well, if we have a circle and we have the points of a diameter, then the center obviously is going to be the midpoint. So what we need to do is just add these points together. So again, remember that our midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2 for our value of the midpoint of x, and ym equals y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 minus 2 divided by 2 for our midpoint. That's going to be 0 divided by 2, which is 0. Over here, we're going to do 5 plus 5 divided by 2. That's going to be 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So our center is going to be at 0, 5. Number 6 says find the point M that divides segment AB into a ratio of 5 to 2 if A is 1, 2, and B is 8, 16. This formula was the first formula for a directed line segment on the formula sheet. So this was the formula B times x1 plus A times x2 divided by B plus A. That's our x value. Then B times y1 plus A times y2, again divided by B plus A. So I'm going to go ahead and populate this formula and work the problem. So when we do this one, we get 2 times 1 plus 5 times 8 divided by 5 plus 2. I'm going to simplify this. This is 2 plus 40 divided by 7. That's 42 divided by 7, so that's 6. Over here, same thing. 2 times 2 plus 5 times 16. And again, let me remind y'all of this. This is our A, this is our B. This is x1, y1. This is x2, y2. That's where I'm getting those values from, y'all, in case you didn't remember that. And again, we're dividing this by 5 plus 2. So this is going to be 4 plus 80 divided by 7. That's 84 divided by 7, which is 12. So our value is 6, 12. And that was that choice. And again, depends on the quiz as to which one was correct, y'all, for you. So number 7 says find the point M that is 2/7 of the distance from A to B. Now this one is the second formula on your formula sheet. So it's x1 plus A over A plus B, x2 minus x1. That's our x value. And then y1 plus, again, A over A plus B, y2 minus y1. Now, again, this 2/7 right here, and I'll tell you right now that on the test it's going to be written out as a word like that, 2/7, so that we got to know that that's 2 over 7. And that equals our A over A plus B. We don't do any substituting of A and B. We just put that in for A over A plus B. Again, this is our x1, y1. This is our x2, y2. So let's go ahead and populate this formula then. So when we do this one, we get negative 9 plus 2/7 of negative 2 minus a minus 9. So this is going to be negative 9 plus 2/7 of, that's going to be negative 2 plus 9. So this is going to be negative 9 plus 2/7 of 7. So that's negative 9, 2/7 of 7, that's going to be 14 divided by 7, which is 2. So, sorry, I'm supposed to put a plus there. plus 2, so this is going to be negative 7. Then we do the other side over here. We're going to do 2 plus 2/7, negative 12 minus 2. So this is 2 plus 2/7 of negative 14. Again, if we were to multiply across the top, we're going to get 2 times negative 14. That's negative 28. Divided by 7 is negative 4. So this is going to be 2 minus 4. So this is going to be negative 2. So our answer is going to be negative 7 comma negative 2. That one right there. Number 8 seemed to trip a bunch of y'all up too. It says a square is inscribed inside a circle as shown. If graphed on the coordinate plane, the coordinates of the endpoints of a diameter would be 2, 1, and 5, 5. So I'm going to go ahead and label these. I think this is a diameter right here, right guys? So if I labeled this one 2, 1, and I label this one up here 5, 5, then that's what we're talking about. So what I need to do to find the area of the circle is to find the radius, and I should be able to find the length of the diameter using the distance formula. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take 5 minus 2. So again, I'm doing x1, y1 here, x2, y2, okay? I'm going to square that plus, again, a 5 minus 1 squared. So this is going to be 3 squared plus 4 squared. That's going to be 9 plus 16, which is 25. And we know that's 5. So that is our diameter. So our diameter equals 5, and we know that the radius is half of that, right? So we're going to divide that by 2 to get our radius. So our radius is going to be 2.5. And then we all should know, and it's on the formula sheet, that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So all we have to do now is put the r in there, because these answers all have pi in them. So we're going to do 2.5 squared times pi, so that is 6.25 pi. So number 9 says find the perimeter of polygon ABCD defined by the coordinates, and it gives us them and round to the nearest tenth. So to do this, again, I kind of like to draw myself a shape so that I can see it, A, B, C, D, so I can see what my sides are. So what I need to do is find the length of AB and DC and BC and DA or AD. So that's what I'm going to do, because this is asking me for the perimeter, and perimeter means just the distance around an object, the outside of an object. So to do this, I'm going to find the length of AB, and to do that, I'm going to look at 12 minus 5 and 0 minus 8. That's my distance formula, right? So I'm going to do 12 minus 5 squared plus 0 minus 8 squared. So when I do this, I'm going to get 7 squared here plus negative 8 squared here. That's going to give me 49 plus 64. Remember, when I square any number, it becomes positive. So this is going to be the square root of 113, which is equal to about 10.6. So, and you can round at the end if you want. So then we're going to look at BC. It's our next side right here. When I do that, I'm going to again do negative 5 minus 12 squared plus 0 minus 0 squared. So this is going to be negative 17 squared, which is the square root of 289, which we obviously know is still 17. So we're going to talk about CD. So on this one again, we're going to go negative 12 minus a minus 5, 8 minus 0. So negative 12 minus a minus 5 squared plus 8 minus 0 squared. So this is going to be negative 7 squared plus 8 squared. It's 49 plus 64 again. That's what we just got above, right? So that was square root of 113, which is also equal to 10.6. Then we've got DA. So when we do DA, So we're going to go 5 minus a minus 12 squared plus 8 minus 8 squared. So once again, the 8 and 8 is going to end up being 0. It's just going to be 5 plus 12, which is 17 squared, plus 0 squared, which is going to be 289 again. So that's going to be 17. So now what we have to do is we have to take these 4 lengths and add them together. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 10.6 plus 10.6 plus 17 plus 17. Now when I did this, I did it 2 ways. I did it in my calculator and I didn't round the 10.6. But either way, if you don't round it, you get 55.2. If you do, if you round it, you get 55.2. If you don't round it, you get 55.3. But this is the closest answer to what we had anyway, so that's what we would choose. So the last question on the quiz was the county's planning department. The county planning department designs a new park in the shape of a parallelogram. They put in 2 diagonal walkways. What will be the coordinates of the intersection of the diagonal walkways? Well, what we should know here is that if this is a parallelogram, then the diagonals bisect each other, which means they would have the same midpoint. So it doesn't really matter which one we use to find that point of intersection. So I'm going to go ahead and just use this one right here, this diagonal, and find its midpoints. Well, remember the midpoint formula is xm is equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and ym, the midpoint, is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So that's what I'm going to use here. So I'm going to add my x values together. So that would be 0 plus 12 and divide that by 2. So that would be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. Over here, I'm going to add my y's. So this is going to be 8 plus 3 divided by 2. That's going to be 11 divided by 2, which is going to be 5.5. So my midpoint is 6, 5.5. And if you wanted to check it, you could by doing the other one. 12 plus 0 is still 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So no matter which one you use, you're going to get the same thing. So the answer here was 6, 5.5.